Anyway, back to the farmhouse. It was like a dream to me. A lot of happy memories there. Dad used to walk us across the cornfield to the house owner's farm, and we'd always go up and knock on his front door, and he'd come out with a fistful of black licorice, which I loved all candy back then, and that was unique. So that was just the coolest tasting stuff I had ever had. And I always got excited when we go to pay rent because I knew I was going to get some black licorice. But it didn't last long, that house. It wasn't long after we moved into a smaller house, and I wasn't super happy about that. I mean, it was a cool looking house. It had a natural stone wall that was near the road that stretched to the middle of town. Um, and it went up an incline to the house, which is kind of nearby the road. Um, and then in the backyard, there was a much steeper incline that led up to a single railroad track. And across the street was an enormous cornfield. I mean, on the outside, it looked cool, but my first impression of it wasn't the best. I walked in, all the blinds were drawn. I remember thinking very clearly, I do not like this place. I don't like the way it looks, and what is that smell? And there's some type of musty smell in the house, like someone had tipped over a shop vac full of dirty water in the back room, and it was just kind of wafering through every room. But I mean, the worst part about it was that I felt like no one really even talked to me about moving or got my opinion of whether I wanted to move or where I wanted to move. And so, yeah, it was kind of my first touch with disappointment. And things started to kind of go downhill at that point. Um, I had a patch. My eye started going inward. I had a lazy eye, and that's not always ideal. Um, and it was later in life that mom told me that my grandpa had passed away at that point in time, and I was just into kindergarten when all that started happening. I got the patch, and my grandpa died. And when she told me that, I looked back to my kindergarten year, and I remembered being so excited to go to class and like raising my hand and asking all kinds of questions, and then I remembered there was a clear, distinct difference in the latter part of the year where I was sitting in the back, I was drawing, wasn't really paying attention or engaged in anything the teacher had to say. So, yeah, things started going downhill.